nervous because I'm here now.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell, and in this episode, we are going to discuss the Ravens Steelers has been postponed again. Everyone, a second postponement. The game now between the Steelers and Ravens will be played Wednesday, December 2nd at 3:40 p.m. on NBC. So we get a late afternoon Wednesday game. Boy, that's not something you see too often in the NFL, Jimbo.
Nope, I don't think too many organizations that have employers here in Baltimore are too excited about that, because from 3:40 to 5, ain't nobody doing nothing.
Nope. Yeah, that's gonna be weird. I know my brother is not gonna be happy. I don't know if he's heard the news, but I know there's gonna be a lot of people working at 3:40 on Wednesday that are not gonna be happy about the news. But they had to do what they had to do because of the. Let's see. It says on Monday they had they were expecting to have their facilities reopened on Monday to prepare for the game on Tuesday, but then the NFL informed the Ravens that they had to shut their facilities down again Monday morning because of a additional player. Is that correct? There was an IR player added to I believe it was that Bonds? I think it was.
Oh no, Bonds was on. They had to shut down because that was Willie Snead.
Willie Snead, that's what it was. Okay, so
yeah that was
the good news is it looks like the Ravens were able to get back into the facilities Monday evening for a walkthrough, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, zero negative tests that afternoon for the second round.
Yes, I just want to read this part of a story I'm catching on. Let's see, where am I? New York Post is saying that the second postponement actually came kind of from the Ravens players. It says that the latest shift to Wednesday comes after the NFL ordered the Ravens facility remain closed Monday morning. And it says, in a reported threat of a wildcat strike by Baltimore players if the game remains scheduled for Tuesday night without proper practice time.
Yep.
So it looks like now they were able to get a walkthrough done Monday night, and it looks like they will get some sort of a practice done, or they have gotten some sort of practice done Tuesday, right? Or no, today's Monday. Yeah, tomorrow, Tuesday.
Right.
And also, didn't some weather play into the fact? Wasn't there some inclement weather in Pittsburgh?
Well, because what happened was the health experts, based on weather and testing and logistics of that, they were suggesting that the team fly to Pittsburgh tonight. And the players, because they canceled practice in the morning, the positive test of Willie Snead, said, look, we haven't practiced for 7 days or so now. We've had walkthroughs, but there was a serious concern around injury based on the fact that, you can only condition so much at home. You can only do so much outside of the facilities. And so a lot of guys were upset about that. And they said, look, we need to get one good practice in before this game. That was their, exactly. Right. That was their concern.
Well, I'm either way. I mean, I'm happy about it, and I'm happy for a few reasons. I mean, first of all, I'm a Ravens fan, and I look at the list of players that now will be eligible for this game, and quite a few important names. I mean, it was what got up to 23 players at one point, so they're getting some of these guys back. So if you're a Ravens fan, here's some good news. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram both are now eligible or will be eligible to play on Wednesday. That will be the first day outside of their quarantine period. So if all things go well, they are going to be eligible to play. And also returning to the field, Jalen Ferguson, outside linebacker. DJ Fluker returns to the offensive line. And that is huge because, wow, I didn't know who was going to be in there at tackle. Maybe Phillips, but who knows? But now Fluker can return to right tackle. And then also defensive tackle Broderick Washington, who's really been playing a lot more lately since the injuries and obviously the COVID situations to the defensive front. So much needed bodies coming back for the Ravens, Jimbo.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. I mean, obviously from like you said, from a fan's perspective, looking at the game, I also think from anybody that's interested in the NFL and good football, you should be happy about this because it's going to be a better game based on those things. Honestly, JK is a huge name, but the biggest one for me, based on where we're at as far as offensive line goes, is probably Fluker. Not that Fluker's playing lights out, but if you didn't have Fluker in at right tackle, I mean, what are you doing at that point? Waylon is already on the list. We signed a new guy from the Denver Broncos practice squad, which none of us know at this point, and I'm sure he doesn't know the offense and obviously hasn't gotten a practice in yet because this was during the COVID outbreak. So really happy about that one. And then obviously JK as well. But this news it was the precursor to the follow-up event, and we're going to touch on this, but I kind of, obviously we'll focus on the Steelers game, but now the Cowboys game has been pushed to Tuesday, so one further game back. So we'll have a Wednesday game this week and a Tuesday game next week.
Weird.
Yeah, definitely weird. But we do have a guest coming on, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But we'd have a guest coming on to prep for that Cowboys game. But yeah, definitely weird and an interesting couple weeks for the Ravens, which was going to be a Thursday, back-to-back weeks. Not going to be the case anymore. Now, the other thing I want to note is that while those names are coming back, obviously Lamar Jackson has already been ruled out for this game, but he will be eligible to return for the Cowboys game, making his positive test less impactful, because instead of missing 2 games, he'll only miss 1, which is huge.
Absolutely gigantic. Now they're playing Tuesday, December 8th at 8:05. So yeah, I mean that game all of a sudden becomes hugely important because look, I mean, I'd love to see him upset the Steelers this weekend, but I know that, or I'm sorry, on Wednesday, but I know that's a tall task. So making those last 5 games even more important and certainly winnable. But that Dallas game will be big. We know Andy Dalton has had his moments of shine against the Baltimore Ravens. So let's hope he doesn't do that next Tuesday. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is something that the NFL had to do. I'm sure they're not thrilled with having to move the game again, and especially move it to a late afternoon start, which is definitely not going to be getting the kind of ratings it was going to be getting if it played originally on Thursday on Thanksgiving, or even on Monday. But at least they're taking the players' safety and making it first and foremost, and taking their concerns into consideration, and not just hey, if you can suit up. Because I look at the Broncos game and I go, man, he couldn't have done nothing to help them out. They had to go out there with a guy at quarterback who just could not complete passes. And then this week, it looks like they're bringing in the offensive coordinator's son, Pat Shurmur's signing. The Broncos are signing Pat Shurmur's son, Kyle Shurmur, to come play quarterback for him. So this isn't just a Ravens problem, but they are getting beat up pretty bad by the COVID situation. But man, I feel kind of fortunate the Ravens got their games pushed back and are able to get some of these guys back.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, the other thing I want to ask you really quickly is obviously there's a little bit of an advantage with the surprise factor going to this game. I don't think they know exactly what we're going to do. And obviously now they did play against RG3 last year and know what he's like, but RG3 has beat this team. And he beat this team with a lot of second stringers, and their first stringers were on the field. Mm-hmm. Steelers fans, say whatever you want, but you guys were bringing the dogs that game. Yep. And RG3 came out with a victory. So what do you see from RG3 that could be different in a not that he's better than Lamar, but different in a change of pace way? Like, what do you see as a potential tactical advantage per se?
Well, I think what you have when you have RG3 in is you start with your playbook, and then you just whittle it down by what you think these guys can actually get done. I think I've said this before, and so with RG3 in there, I'm sure the playbook is smaller than with Lamar in there. But let's be honest, he can still whip the ball around. He still throws a pretty ball. He's been exposed to a lot of situations. It's not like this is a guy who doesn't have starting experience, a guy who hasn't played in big games. So at least they have a guy like that in the building. Now, from a strategy standpoint, boy, I hope they get the ball out quick, because them Steelers, they attack the quarterback. They can get to him very quickly, even when your offensive line is at 100%. So I hope that the strategy is run often, early and often, and then when you are forced to throw, either do so in play action or a quick 3-step drop and get the ball out as fast as possible. But look, the Steelers know that, so they're going to, I'm sure, challenge the receivers at the line. They're going to put 8-9 guys in the box. They're going to dare RG3 to throw his way out of it. Yeah. And they're going to look to shut down that run game first and foremost and force the Ravens into 3rd and long. And then they let TJ Watt and Bud Dupree go after RG3. So it's going to be a tall task, but let's just remember, Jimmy, this game was very losable at 100% strength. So right. The good news is that these Raven players get to go in there with zero pressure. Absolutely.
Right. They get to play loose with house money.
Exactly. 100% of the pressure is on the Steelers. The Steelers have to win this game, or they have egg on their face. So we've seen situations like this before where the looser team comes in, plays well early, gets a lead, And then all of a sudden, that other team on the other sideline starts to get a little tight, a little nervous. Like, wait a minute, these guys are beating us. All I'm saying is, while not likely, it's not impossible that the Ravens can pull this win off.
Yeah, and the other thing I wonder is if we win the coin toss, do you see a world in which we take the ball instead of trying to work out of, with the idea of, well, let's get ahead early. We're a run heavy team. We don't, we haven't been playing well from behind. Let's see if we can strike early and at least get, for example, 3 on the board, right? At least get 3 on the board. Do you think there's any way that they, and not necessarily because of RG, but that's something I've been thinking about the past couple weeks, is that, do you think that that's something that we could start doing?
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to play from a lead if you're a Ravens team. I think there's no doubt about that. Now, the question is how much confidence you have in your offense going 80 versus how much confidence do you have in your defense stopping their offense, forcing a punt, and then getting better field position for your offense. So I would suspect that they would still elect to kick off and receive the second half kickoff. Defer, I guess, is what they all do now, because of the fact that I think they can still lean on their strength, which right now is their defense. Even with, a bunch of guys missing, they're still the strength of the team going in this game. To me, is still their defense, and I think they got to rely on it.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say when everyone's healthy, even with Lamar out there, I think this year that's the difference. The strength of our team is the defense. When everyone's healthy and performing like they should be, as surprising as that is based on our historical offense, it's definitely our defense this year. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one, a unique one. 3:40 p.m. A lot of people are going to be working. All those telework going to be doing tons of work.
Yeah, I'm sure anyone working from home will be doing zero actual work during this situation. But hey,
I'm going to be working. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that's because you're thinking your boss might be watching. But let me just say this. Good thing that, when the Ravens were carrying a long snapper all season on the practice squad, Jimmy, and protecting him almost every week from other teams, I was thinking, man, that's some awfully thought out, that's some awful forward thinking by the Ravens. And wow, did it pay off, because Morgan Cox is going to miss this game. And if we didn't have a long snapper at standby, we could be in some trouble. But so good thinking from the Ravens, right?
Yeah, there you go. So let us know what you guys think. We want to know, Steelers fans and Ravens fans, you happy about the postponement? Not so happy about the postponement? We're pretty sure we know what you're going to say, but we're still interested in your opinion nonetheless.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there are some interesting ones out there. But let us know what you think. Leave us your comments and thoughts, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.